Hello, guys. I'm going to be showing you and then telling you, explaining a few more details about mitosis and the cell cycle that we talked about in class on April 2nd. So this is the notes that I'll have you copy down. So the whole process of getting a new identical cell, that's the main outcome of mitosis. And mitosis actually is just a small portion of this whole cell cycle, or the life of a cell, you could say. So if you divide one page in your notes in half this way, so this will be the top of your page. And in this corner, just write cell cycle. And then we talked about three purposes. So why does your body need there are three main reasons why your body needs new cells to be created from those existing cells, as we know from talking about the cell theory. So one purpose is that your body has grown, the cells have grown, you have grown as an organism since birth. So that's one purpose, for the growth of the organism. Second purpose for why cells are going through mitosis is that their organism needs to be healed or repair their cells. So when a bone is broken, when the skin is broken, anytime some cells have been hurt, damaged, this is how those cells are repaired and healed. And then the third main purpose is that our cells need to replace the dead cells. So when you have dead cells, skin would be a really good example of this. Your living skin cells need to replace the, quote, dead skin cells and other cells also within your body. So those are the three main purposes for all of this that we're going to be talking about here. So this, if you draw this circle here and divide out about a tenth of this circle, this is a pie graph representing the whole cell cycle. And just want to point out that 90% of its life, so that's this area right here, 90% of the life, quote, life of the cell, that cell is just doing its job. So depending on what kind of cell it is, they each have their main job that they are doing. So 90% of its time is just spent doing that job, helping keep the organism in homeostasis, and it's doing its job, whatever life process it might be helping to do, that Mrs. Grin that you should remember. Those 7 items. So right before the 4 main mitosis steps start, there is a phase called interphase, and that would start to happen just about here. And then this 10% would be the 4 main steps of mitosis, and then there's a real final stage which would happen about right there. Okay, so we have kind of a pre, the 4 main events, and then a post, you could say, and then that cell would go back into doing its job like it normally is doing most of its time or existence. So at the bottom of this page, you cut this page in half, so at the bottom of this page, the bottom left, we're going to start with interphase. So interphase is kind of like the pre. It's the time when the cell is ending doing whatever it has been doing, and it's preparing for the 4 main steps of mitosis. So to do that, the cell itself would grow larger just a little bit, and at this point it would have 46 chromosomes. Those are what the DNA was at the beginning. So 46 that's a significant number here. All right, we'll come back to cytokinesis here. So interphase is kind of the pre, and then if you divide your page that's facing the right hand side page like this, so you've got the title, the phase here. This phase has 4 main steps, and then you'll just draw a simple circle here, and then inside that you'll draw what is happening to the chromosomes during that phase. And this is the second phase of mitosis, and it has two major points. There's your circle. Third phase has three main points, and then fourth stage has four main points. All right, got that drawn. So now what I'll show you, this is back to interphase, so you already have that. Interphase, the cell is just growing. It has duplicated its chromosomes, and it's just carrying on those life processes, Mrs. Gren, just doing its regular job. And this is what that looks like under a microscope. So here's this nucleus, nucleolus. This would be the cytoplasm and where all the other organelles are during this phase. So this is kind of the remember, getting ready to start the four main steps. So the first step of mitosis, those major four, starts with a P. So I call it P mat. So this is the prophase, P, pro. And in this phase, the chromosomes have duplicated, doubled, replicated. You'll see several different synonyms for that. And now it has 92. 46 equals 92. Because we're going to want to have 46 in both of these cells that we're going to, cells that we end up with. So in this phase also, you'll see their chromosomes are thickening. And because they're thickening and they're double, we're going to be able to see them. They're going to become visible, and the nucleus is now gone. There isn't really room in there for the, with all the duplicating chromosomes for that nucleus to be there. So it has disintegrated. And then here's just my simple picture. You can draw just a bunch of X's. Those are your chromosomes, thick, doubled, and we can now see them much easier. And this is what that looks like under a microscope. So this is the first major stage of mitosis, called prophase. So after P, then comes the M. So metaphase, and I think of meta because this is where they're going to end up in the middle. So there's your hint, meta. Chromosomes are in the middle. So this is what the computer graphic looks like. How that happens is the spindle fibers attach to the chromosome, so they come out of the centrioles. They attach, just kind of like leashes on a dog or a cat. Leash. And then those spindle fibers pull them and position them into the middle of the cell. So this is what mine simple drawing looks like. So they attach and move them into the middle. So it starts out with pro, where they're all mixed up, and now they're all lined up in the middle. So this is metaphase under a microscope. See the fibers? Here are the big, thick chromosomes lined up in the middle. And after the M phase, metaphase, comes ana. So this is anaphase. This is the third out of the four. The key points are these fibers that were attached and pull them into the middle. They are now going to shorten. And as they shorten, they're going to pull the chromosomes. They're going to split. And the chromosomes are going to be half on the left side and half on the right side, or the north side and the south side, the south pole. Which means they are going away. That's my hint. Anaphase is when the chromosomes go away from each other. Half on the left, half on the right. Here's my simple drawing. Okay. Fibers shorten, they're already attached. They pull, so half is on each end. So if we go back again, here's pro, big and thick and fat, visible. They're lined up in the middle. And now they're being pulled away. So kind of a sequencing here to help you visualize it. Ana, the third out of the four. And now here comes the fourth stage, telophase. T for telo, and I think of that as two identical cells. That's the whole reason for doing this. So telophase is when that happens. To get that to happen, the new nucleus would come back, and the chromosomes have returned to the DNA in the nucleus. So they're not called chromosomes anymore. They're back to just their regular DNA, which is what is in every cell. That's what controls what our cells do, what they look like, what we look like, the DNA. So everything's back to normal. Telophase. So go from pro. One more time. Here's pro, meta, ana, getting pulled away, and now it's going to look like this. And this is kind of stopped before. It's split in half here, but right there where my mouse was is where it would be dividing. You've got half. This one is exactly like this half on that side. Okay, telophase. End up with two identical, they call them daughter cells. And then that takes us, that's the end of mitosis, and we end up back on this other page with cytokinesis, the ending when the two daughter cells actually split. And we have more cells, identical cells, so that whatever they were doing, whatever their purpose was, if it was to grow or to heal and repair or to replace the dead, that's now accomplished. And that cell will just go back to doing its job. All right. Hopefully this helps. See you later.